Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Nikki Burnett with Taste Life Nutrition. I'm a functional nutritionist, and I practice strategic evidence-based consulting. I'm here. If you've seen this before, you've met Emily before. Emily Green. She is the owner and founder of Cibo Meals, which is an amazing, super healthy food delivery service. They do meals in mason jars, and they're so scrumptious. I want Emily to talk a little bit about what she does and about her company, but she has had some questions, and we thought, well, we're just going to put it on Facebook Live and we'll talk about it. So go ahead, Emily, talk about what you do.
Hey, everyone. So, yeah, as Nikki mentioned, she's a customer of Cibo Meals, so she's gotten to try some. And so we do meals in a mason jar. They are exciting meals that are prepared, ready to eat for busy professionals, and they are all vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian since I was about 7 or so it's just been a way of life for me. And as I've started doing these meals, and I really try to cook with a lot of international influence, creativity. I think outside the box with some of the ingredients that I use, and two of the things I constantly struggle with are sodium and salt, and how our society tends to really overdo it with those, and then how to bring those in as far as making my meals healthy and still taste good. So I thought Nikki would be a perfect resource for that. So Nick, my first question is that many people are told either by their medical professionals or just sort of as a way of hearing it from the media and stuff, that salt and sodium need to be taken out of our diets, which is pretty much impossible to do.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the main point is what type of sodium you're giving yourself, and how you're monitoring that. So what are some of your key tips?
So the first thing is, let's talk about the differences between salt. Salt, white table salt, is not truly salt. It's sodium chloride. So true salt has, 70 to 100 trace minerals and minerals in it. And eating true salt, the body knows what to do. If you eat table salt, sodium chloride, that's what you have. You have sodium and chloride. And there have been, all of the other minerals have been stripped. And so we get too much sodium, too much chloride, and all of the other, and so our body doesn't react properly to it. So when we're told that we're supposed to not eat salt, it's not all salt. So if you're dealing with high blood pressure, eating table salt is a really bad idea, because it will create more, the body won't know what to do with it. So it will raise your blood pressure. There is the potential, if you are eating regular, everyday sea salt, it's got colors in it, if it's the pink Himalayan salt, right. If it's the speckle, it's got dark speckles through it. I've got a dog running through back there.
We're very dog friendly here.
Then there's a chance there's a really good chance it might actually help your blood pressure, because the body knows what to do. It's just like any other food. It's real food, right? Hi, Patty. Real food is the most important thing. And if we take food and if we're stripping it, we're processing it, we're creating essentially a non-food. The body's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Yep. So salt is not a bad thing. Salt used to be, it was money in a sense, right?
Yep.
It's the most amazing thing. I use a lot of salt. But you're using sea salt. I use real salt. Yes.
So sea salt and like the pink Himalayan. I feel like salt is getting to be one of those boutique-y things now, and you can get it at Costco very easily. I think a lot of people keep, that table salt on their table because it's cheap, and maybe your parents and generations before you had used that. It's so simple to replace it now with just one of those easy grinders of sea salt or pink Himalayan.
Yeah, so just understanding that it's not about the salt. It's about the body, and it's about the right foods and the right salt.
And how you're going to digest that. If you think about how long sea salt has been around versus, table salt, and people didn't used to have the same problems, medical issues that, we have now. Right. So, Also at Cibo Meals, a lot of my meals are Asian inspired or Med-Asian, Mediterranean Asian, which are both cuisines that are very sodium heavy. Now, and maybe we can touch a little bit on the difference between sodium and salt, because I think we think of salt as such a specific granule versus sodium as kind of this just, thing on an ingredient list. But what would you recommend for me when I'm trying to really keep some of those levels of sodium down in my Asian and some of my other cuisines?
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to my opinion is salt is not a bad thing. You use good salt, you use real salt. But our tastes are all different. And so this is just going to be an opinion thing. It's not really, science-y. But my opinion is you use the salt that you think, and then if somebody needs more salt, they put more salt on it.
Right, or soy sauce, or
that's
liquid
what
aminos.
I would do liquid aminos. I would do tamari. I probably wouldn't. I'm not a big fan of soy sauce.
Yeah.
But tamari is good. Soy sauce has gluten in it, and tamari does not. But I think you have to do your best to please the most, but you can't please everyone, and it's easy enough for any of us to add a little salt to. I mean, that's what I do, because I know that you don't. I'm a salt girl. Yeah, and it's okay. But I'm happy to be able to add my own, because I also wouldn't want it to come to me too salty. And,
right.
So,
and that's a really hard thing. I know, as I've been cooking, especially with soups and stuff, it's really easy to ruin a dish or a soup by over salting it. And so I'm really conscious of that. But yeah, go ahead and add your own, as long as it's the good kind.
Something else I would add though too is, there are things like, so many things you can get them with salt or without salt. So my thought is butter. I love salt in my butter, but I would much prefer to buy butter that doesn't have the salt in it and add my own, because you don't know what kind of salt they're adding to it.
That's a great point.
Any processed food, packaged food, if it says salt, or the sodium content is probably just going to be the sodium chloride. So getting things that are lower in salt is a good idea, because then you can take it home and you can add your own healthy Himalayan sea salt or just sea salt, and you know that you're getting the right stuff. You know
what you're putting into the food, which is huge. Yeah. And then another thing I know that a lot of my cookbooks that I like to refer to and stuff, and I myself, I could not live without lemons. I've heard that a lot of chefs recommend using citrus in lieu of salt and heavy seasonings and stuff, which again goes back to, you can kind of add your own. But I'm a big citrus person. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's a good kind of, meet in the middle?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they're very different. One's citrus and one's salt, and I like both of them, and I would probably add both. But that's my taste.
Yeah.
I put in a bunch of lemon in some in a dish I had last night, but I also added salt.
A little salt. Yeah.
So is it a good replacement? I mean, I just think the flavor profile is so different. Yeah. But they always add a really fresh, amazing flavor. The citrus does.
Yeah, the citrus, part of what I love about using it is that zing, and it helps keep the ingredients fresher and kind of melt them together better too. So.
Yeah. No, I think it's great, and I think adding seasonings. Period. I like seasonings. I mean, for me, the bigger the flavor of the food, the bigger the flavor of the wine, the bigger the flavor of the coffee. That's what makes me happy. But some people don't like that. And so I like to add lots of different seasonings to my own meals, and play with it. I play with my food all the time.
And I think it's important to have those things on hand and understand that, yes, when you order a meal from a restaurant, and you can oftentimes ask for, a certain condiment or something, but you can't ask the chef to add more X, Y, and Z. I mean, they're cooking it the way that they've created this recipe. So really have the stuff that you like on hand and make it your own. That's part of why at Cibo, one of my taglines is creative recipes, and I want you to be creative too. Yeah, they really are great. She does a really good job. One of the things that I talk about is cooking at home and knowing what you're putting in your food. That's so important, to know what you're putting in your food. If you go to a restaurant,
you really don't know what all is going into your food. If you order in, you don't really know what all is going into your food. But if you're not able to, knowing where your food's coming from, so going to your farmers markets and knowing where your meat's coming from, and knowing and talking to the people that are preparing your food, which is why I love this relationship with Emily so much. Besides the fact that I just love her, is
Ditto.
is the fact that I've been to her kitchen. I know what she puts into her food. I know that if there's something that has gluten in it, she's gonna list it, and I know it, and so does everybody else. Another great thing is she does cheese. But periodically, but if it's like a hunk of cheese, she puts it on top. So if you don't want the cheese, you can either give it to someone else, or you don't have to eat it. It's your call. So she's very careful and very aware of what she's doing with these with her meals, and they're really, really delicious. She uses good, healthy oils, which makes me really happy. She does.
We can do a separate one on that, because that was a huge thing I learned from Nikki about oils.
Yeah. She does organic when she can. When it comes to the meat, she does vegetarian. And when it comes to me, and if my husband would shoot me if I made him eat vegetarian all the time. So I have meat on hand, and I have the meat, and we just put it all together. It's the simplest, easiest thing, and super healthy. Makes me really, really happy.
Good.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that clears up most of my questions about salt. But again, just please comment, either of us or anything, if you have more questions. And again, Nikki's a great resource for this kind of stuff, where it's something so simple, yet I think that a lot of us get bogged down in what we're reading or what our medical profession tells us or something, and this is just basic. It's have the good stuff on hand and use it sparingly, but to what makes you really enjoy your food.
Yeah, it's education. It's not always easy, because we hear so much stuff in the media and in mainstream medicine, what we should and shouldn't eat. And I could go on and on about the things that are just destroying our bodies that we're told that we should eat because we're healthy. So as Emily said, feel free to paste any comments below. To comment below if you have questions. You can go to my website, tastelifenutrition.com. You can go to Emily's website, cibomeals.com. And if you have other ideas, if there are other things that you would like for us to talk about, then we are certainly open to doing that as well. So have a great day. We'll see y'all later on.
Thank
Thanks.
you guys.
Bye.
Ciao.